The gunfire shattered the crystal chandelier. Adana Benjamins didn't think. She just moved, throwing her body over the small boy as 4 bullets tore through her flesh. 1 in her shoulder. 1 in her side. 2 in her back. The 7-year-old beneath her was crying, but he was breathing. That's all that mattered. When she looked up, blood soaking through her white maid's uniform, she saw him, Park Jae-sung. The man whose floors she mocked. The man whose secrets she'd learned to ignore. The most dangerous man in Seoul. He was standing over her, gun still smoking in his hand, 3 bodies cooling on his marble floor. "You saved my son," he said, voice deadly calm. She nodded, fighting to stay conscious. "Then you're his mother now." He turned to his men, blood splattered across his white shirt. "Call the doctor. And the lawyer. We're having a wedding." Season's greetings besties and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, hit the subscribe button to be part of our amazing family. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss our mafia romance stories. 3 weeks earlier. Adana stood in the employment office in Itaewon, her last 50,000 won crumpled in her pocket. 3 months in Seoul, and she was down to her final option, a live-in maid position that every other applicant had rejected. "The pay is excellent," the recruiter said, not meeting her eyes. "But Mr. Park is demanding. The last 5 maids quit within a week." Adana thought of her younger sister's university fees back in Lagos. Her mother's medical bills. The dreams that had brought her to Korea are now drowning in debt. "I'll take it." Park Jae-sung's estate sat in Hanam-dong, hidden behind walls that probably cost more than Adana would earn in a lifetime. As the gate opened, she understood why the other maids had run. This wasn't a home. It was a fortress. The head of staff, Mrs. Kwon, was a severe woman in her 60s who looked Adana up and down like she was inspecting spoiled meat. "Mr. Park's rules," she said in clipped English. "You clean. You stay invisible. You speak to no one about what you see. You never go near Mr. Park's office or ask questions. Understand?" "Yes, ma'am." "And the boy, Ji-hoon. He's 7. Don't get attached." The previous maids made that mistake. Adana wanted to ask what that meant, but Mrs. Kwon was already walking away. She met Ji-hoon on her 2nd day. He was small for 7, with his father's sharp features and eyes that had seen too much. He sat in the corner of the massive playroom, surrounded by thousands of dollars worth of toys he wasn't touching. "Hello," Adana said softly, starting to clean. He stared at her. "You're different. I'm from Nigeria. It's in West Africa." "No. I mean you actually talk to me." His voice was flat. "Adult. The others pretend I'm invisible." Adana's heart cracked. She knelt down to his level, breaking Mrs. Kwon's rules already. "Well, I see you. And I think you're lonely." For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. "My mom died 2 years ago. Dad says it's because of his work. That's why he doesn't talk to me much. It's safer if he doesn't love me too much." What kind of life was this for a child? "Your father is wrong," Adana said firmly. "Love doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong." Ji-hoon studied her. "What's your name?" "Adana." "I'm going to ask Dad if you can be my maid." "Just mine." She saw Park Jae-sung for the first time that evening. He came home at midnight and Adana was still awake, scrubbing the kitchen floor because Mrs. Kwon had found spots. She heard the footsteps, expensive shoes on marble, and looked up. He stood in the doorway in a black suit, and even exhausted, Adana felt the air change. He was handsome in a dangerous way. Sharp jaw, cold eyes, and an energy that said he could kill you before you finished screaming. "You're the new maid." It wasn't a question. "Yes, sir." Adana Benjamins. His eyes traced over her, not sexually, but analytically. Like he was cataloging her features for future reference. My son requested you be assigned to his wing. Mrs. Kwan refused. I'm overriding her. Starting tomorrow, you'll care for Ji-hoon's rooms and meals. Sir, He spoke at dinner tonight. For the first time in 3 months. His voice was cold, but something underneath wasn't. Whatever you did, keep doing it. But understand this, if you ever betray my son's trust, they will never find your body. Are we clear? Adana should have been terrified. She was. But she also saw something else, a father desperate to reach his own child and failing. Crystal clear, Mr. Park. I would never hurt Ji-hoon. He nodded once and disappeared into the shadows of his own home. Over the next 2 weeks, Adana became Ji-hoon's shadow. She learned he loved astronomy but was afraid of the dark. That he'd memorized every fact about his dead mother but barely knew his living father. That he had nightmares 3 times a week where men with guns came for him. It's just dreams, she'd soothe, braiding his hair the way she used to braid her sister's. You're safe. But she'd started to notice things. The guards patrolling the grounds. The men in suits who came at odd hours. The way certain rooms were always locked. Park Jae-sung was no CEO. Or rather, he was, but his business wasn't legal. She should quit. Leave. Protect herself. But then Ji-hoon would smile at her, or show her his drawings, or ask her to tell him stories about Lagos, and she couldn't abandon him to this cold, dangerous world. Jae-sung watched from the shadows as Adana read to his son. She was curled up in Ji-hoon's reading nook, the boy's head on her lap, completely relaxed in a way he never was with anyone else. Not even him. And the brave princess told the dragon, I'm not afraid of you, Adana was saying in that warm, accented voice. Because I know you're just lonely too. Like Dad, Ji-hoon murmured sleepily. Adana paused. Your father isn't a dragon, sweetheart. But he's lonely. And everyone's afraid of him. From the doorway, Jae-sung felt something twist in his chest. When had his son become so perceptive? Maybe he's afraid too, Adana said quietly. Sometimes the strongest people are the most scared. Scared of losing the people they love. Jae-sung left before she could sense him there. That night, he did something he hadn't done in 2 years. He went to Ji-hoon's room and sat on the edge of the bed. Dad? Ji-hoon blinked awake. Just checking on you. His son stared at him like he was seeing a ghost. Adana says you do that. Check on me. She says she sees you sometimes, standing in the doorway. Damn. The woman was more observant than his trained guards. She's right. Why don't you come in? Because every time I love something, I lose it. Because your mother died because of me. Because if I let myself love you fully, and something happens to you, I won't survive it. I'm working on it, was all he said. Ji-hoon reached out and grabbed his hand. Adana says love makes you strong, not weak. Adana talks too much, Jae-sung said, but his voice was soft. For the first time in years, he stayed until his son fell back asleep. The confrontation with Mrs. Kwan was inevitable. You're overstepping, the older woman hissed at Adana in the kitchen. You're a maid, not his mother. Mr. Park's enemies would love to find a weakness, and you're making that boy soft. He's 7, Adana shot back. He should be soft. He should be loved. Love gets you killed in this world. Then this world is sick. Mrs. Kwan's eyes flashed. You self-righteous, you have no idea what Mr. Park has sacrificed. What he's done to keep that boy alive. His wife died because someone got too close, found the weakness. He's trying to protect Ji-hoon by keeping distance. Adana's anger deflated. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. He's protecting his son by making sure his son feels unloved. You don't understand our world. Maybe not. But I understand that child deserves better. Jae-sung called her to his office that night. She'd never been inside. It was all dark wood and leather, with maps on the walls marking things she probably shouldn't see. He sat behind a massive desk, a glass of whiskey in hand. "Mrs. Kwan says you're causing problems." "I'm doing my job, sir." "Your job is to clean and serve meals. Not psychoanalyze my parenting." Adana knew she should stay quiet. Keep her head down. But she thought of Ji-hoon's face when he asked why his dad didn't love him. "With respect, Mr. Park, you hired me because your son finally responded to someone. If you just wanted a cleaning robot, you wouldn't have moved me to his wing." His eyes went dangerous. "Careful. Ji-hoon asked me today why you don't eat dinner with him. Why you only check on him when you think he's asleep. Why you never hug him. That's enough. He thinks it's his fault. That he did something wrong. That if he was better, you'd love him." Jae-sung slammed the glass down. "I'm protecting him. You're abandoning him." Adana's voice shook. "Sir, I know this isn't my place. I know you could fire me or worse. But that little boy is dying for his father's love, and you're starving him because you're afraid." The silence was deafening. When Jae-sung spoke, his voice was deadly quiet. "My wife went to our son's school play. I told her not to go, that it wasn't safe, but she wanted to be a normal mother. They car-bombed her in the parking lot. Ji-hoon was 50 feet away, waiting for her. He saw everything." Adana's hand flew to her mouth. "So yes, I keep my distance. Because everyone I love dies, and I won't paint a target on my son by showing the world he's my weakness." "He already is your weakness," Adana whispered. "Anyone with eyes can see it. You're just making sure he feels alone when they come for him." Jae-sung stared at her for a long moment. "You have no idea what you're talking about. Then help me understand. Let me protect him properly. Teach me what to watch for. Why do you even care this much? He's not your child." Adana met his eyes. "Because every child deserves to feel loved. And because I see you watching him with such longing, and I see him watching you the same way, and it breaks my heart that you're both so lonely in the same house." Something cracked in his expression. "Get out. Sir. Get out." She fled. This tension is about to explode in ways you won't expect. Are you Team Jae-sung or Team Adana? Comment below. And if you're loving this story, hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who loves romance. Adana thought she'd be fired by morning. Instead, she found a note slipped under her door. "Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Ji-hoon's room. PJS." When she arrived, Jae-sung was there, sitting stiffly on his son's bed. Ji-hoon was at school. "You were right," he said without preamble. "I've been a coward." Adana said nothing. "I'm going to try to be present. But I need you to help me." He looked at her, and for the first time, she saw the man behind the monster. "I don't know how to be a father anymore without being terrified." Her heart softened. "Start small. Have dinner with him. 3 times a week. Let him see you're trying. And if I fail, then you fail. But he'll remember you tried. That's more than he has now." The first dinner was awkward. Jae-sung sat at the head of the table like he was negotiating a weapons deal, and Ji-hoon barely touched his food. Adana, serving, wanted to bang their heads together. "Ji-hoon," she said gently, "why don't you tell your father about the solar system project?" The boy's eyes lit up. "Really? He'd love to hear it." Ji-hoon launched into an explanation of planetary orbits, and Adana watched Jae-sung's face transform. Pride. Wonder. Love he didn't know how to express. When Ji-hoon paused for breath, Jae-sung said, "I could take you to the observatory. This weekend." Ji-hoon's jaw dropped. "Really? If you want." "Yes." Adana excused herself before they could see her crying. Over the next week, something shifted in the house. Jae-sung started having breakfast with Ji-hoon. reading him bedtime stories in his own stilted way. Even playing with him in the playroom, though he clearly had no idea what he was doing. And Adana found herself watching this dangerous man learn to be gentle, and something dangerous bloomed in her chest. She crushed it immediately. He was her employer. A criminal. From a completely different world. But then she'd catch him watching her with Ji-hoon, something heated and confused in his eyes, and she'd wonder if she was the only one feeling this impossible pull. Mrs. Kwon cornered her in the laundry room. "You're playing with fire. I don't know what you mean. Mr. Park looks at you. And you look at him. This won't end well. Nothing is happening. Yet. But it will. And when it does, his family will destroy you. They barely tolerated his Korean wife. What do you think they'll do to a Nigerian maid?" Adana lifted her chin. Good thing nothing's happening then. But that night, when Jae-sung's hand brushed hers passing Ji-hoon's bedtime milk, and electricity shot through her entire body, she knew Mrs. Kwon was right. She was falling for a man who could never be hers. It was supposed to be a quiet Tuesday. Ji-hoon had a playdate with the son of one of Jae-sung's business associates, another mafia family that Adana had learned to identify by the way they carried themselves. The boy, Min-ho, arrived with his mother and 2 bodyguards. Adana served tea while the adults talked in Jae-sung's office. She was in the kitchen preparing snacks when she heard it. The front door slamming open. Footsteps. Too many footsteps. Then gunfire. Adana's training, the self-defense classes her father had insisted on, kicked in. She grabbed the largest knife from the block and ran toward the playroom. She burst through the door to find 3 masked men, guns drawn. Ji-hoon and Min-ho were screaming, huddled behind the couch. One man was turning toward them, raising his weapon. Adana didn't hesitate. She threw herself in front of the boys just as he fired. The first bullet hit her shoulder, spinning her. The second hit her side, dropping her to her knees. The third and fourth hit her back as she covered both children with her body. The pain was unlike anything she'd ever known. Distant screams. More gunfire. Then strong hands pulling her up. Jae-sung's face, splattered with blood that wasn't his own, filled her vision. Adana. Adana. Stay with me. The boys, she gasped. They're safe. You saved them. You stupid, brave, his voice cracked. Her vision was going dark. But she heard him turn to someone and say, voice like steel, get my doctor. Now. And call my lawyer. Sir. You heard me. We're having a wedding. Then darkness. Adana woke up in what was definitely not a hospital. The room was luxurious, all silk sheets and medical equipment that looked straight out of a sci-fi movie. Her entire torso was wrapped in bandages, and pain radiated through her with every breath. You're awake. Jae-sung sat beside the bed, looking like he hadn't slept in days. His shirt was still stained with what she realized was her blood. Ji-hoon, she croaked. Unharmed. Because of you. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You took 4 bullets for my son. For a child who isn't yours, in a house where you've worked for 3 weeks. Of course I did. Most people wouldn't. Most people would run. I'm not most people. Something flickered in his eyes. No. You're really not. He stood, started pacing. The men who attacked, they were sent by my uncle. There's a war coming for control of the organization. Ji-hoon is a target. Min-ho too, they wanted to send a message to both families. I don't understand what this has to do with. You're a witness. You can identify the one who escaped. Which means you're now a target too. He stopped, turned to face her. I can send you away. New identity, new country, enough money to never work again. You'd be safe. Her heart sank. Or you marry me. Today. Now. Adana was sure the pain medication was making her hallucinate. What? In my world, family is protected at all costs. As my wife, you'd have the full weight of my organization's protection. No one would touch you. And Ji-hoon. His voice softened. He's been sitting outside this room for 2 days. Crying. Begging me to save you. He loves you. So this is a business arrangement. His jaw tightened. You saved my son's life. In my family, that's a debt that can only be repaid one way. Blood for blood, life for life. You gave your life for his, you live as family now. That's insane. That's my world. He moved closer, and Adana's breath caught. But I won't force you. Say no, and I'll set you up somewhere safe. Say yes, and you become Park Adana. Wife. Mother to Ji-hoon. Part of this dangerous, violent world. I barely know you. I know. I'm not asking you to love me. I'm asking you to save yourself and stay with my son who needs you. His voice dropped. And maybe I need you too. The vulnerability in those words hit harder than the bullets. If I say yes, what kind of marriage would this be? Whatever we make it. I won't touch you without permission. You'd have your own rooms, your own life. But in public, we'd be united. And I'd protect you with everything I have. Adana thought of Ji-hoon's face. Of going back to Lagos and never knowing if they were okay. Of the impossible, complicated feelings she developed for this cold man who was learning to be warm. I want conditions. His eyebrow raised. You're negotiating. You said I'm brave and stupid. Might as well prove it. She struggled to sit up, hissing in pain. 1. Ji-hoon comes first. Always. This may start as protection, but he gets a real mother. Agreed. 2. I'm not a trophy wife. I won't sit in a cage. I want purpose. I can work with that. 3. If this ever becomes real, if we ever become real, you don't shut me out. No more pushing away people you love to protect them. His eyes went dark. That's asking a lot. You're asking me to marry a mafia boss I've known for 3 weeks. I think we're even. A smile ghosted across his face, the first real smile she'd seen. You're going to be trouble, aren't you? Absolutely. Good. I hate boring. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Bring the lawyer. And the doctor to clear her for sitting up during the ceremony. We're doing this now. Now. I'm bleeding. My world moves fast, Adana. People who hesitate die. The moment I announce you're under my protection, you're safer. Every second you're unprotected is a second my enemies could strike. 20 minutes later, Adana was propped up in bed, wrapped in bandages and a silk robe someone had provided, facing a lawyer who looked extremely uncomfortable. Jae-sung stood beside the bed in a fresh suit. Mrs. Kwon was there as a witness, looking like she was attending a funeral. And Ji-hoon, freshly bathed and in his best clothes, held a bouquet of flowers someone had clearly run out to buy. We're getting married, Jae-sung had told his son. So Adana can stay forever. Is that okay? Ji-hoon had thrown himself at Adana's bed, crying happy tears. You're going to be my mom. If you'll have me, she'd whispered. Now, as the lawyer droned through the legal language, Adana caught Jae-sung watching her with an expression she couldn't read. Do you, Park Jae-sung, take this woman? I do. Do you, Adana Benjamins, take? I do. Then by the power vested in me by the Republic of Korea, I pronounce you married. No kiss. No celebration. Just a piece of paper that changed everything. Jae-sung dismissed everyone except Ji-hoon, who climbed carefully onto the bed. You're really staying, the boy whispered. Really, really. Forever. Adana looked at Jae-sung, this dangerous man who'd just bound his life to hers, and felt the weight of what she'd agreed to. Forever. The news hit the Korean underworld like a bomb. Park Jae-sung, the ruthless head of the Park crime family, had married his Nigerian maid in a private ceremony. No negotiation with his family. No traditional courtship. Just a sudden declaration that she was now Lady Park, untouchable. Adana learned this from Mrs. Kwon, who came to change her bandages the next morning. The family is furious, the older woman said. His mother is flying in from Jeju. His uncle, the one who ordered the attack, is using this as proof that Jae-sung is unfit to lead. Because he married me. Because he married beneath him. A foreigner. A maid. Mrs. Kwon met her eyes. I won't lie to you. This will be hard. They'll try to break you, prove you don't belong. Do you think I don't belong? Mrs. Kwon was quiet for a moment. I think you're the first person in 2 years who made this house feel like a home. I think Mr. Park smiles now. I think Ji-hoon laughs. But I also think you have no idea what you've walked into. Jae-sung's mother arrived 3 days later. Adana was finally able to walk, though her wounds still screamed with every movement. She was in the living room with Ji-hoon when the door opened. Madam Park was 70, elegant, and terrifying. She swept in wearing traditional hanbok and contempt. So you're the woman who tricked my son into marriage. Adana stood, leaning on the couch. I didn't trick anyone, ma'am. No. You just conveniently threw yourself in front of bullets and guilt him into marrying you. Mother. Jae-sung appeared from his office. Enough. Don't you mother me. Have you lost your mind? The family is in chaos, your uncle is making moves, and you're playing house with my wife. Who saved your grandson's life? Madam Park's eyes cut to Ji-hoon, who was clinging to Adana's hand. Ji-hoon, come here. The boy shook his head, hiding behind Adana. Something flickered in the old woman's face. She's poisoned you against your family. She's the only one who doesn't make me feel like I'm going to die, Ji-hoon said quietly. The silence was deafening. Madam Park looked at her son. We need to talk. Alone. Adana tried not to eavesdrop, but their voices carried. She's using you. She took 4 bullets for my son. What more proof do you need? Proof that she's not after the money, the power, She negotiated to take care of Ji-hoon. Not for jewelry or cars or status. She wanted to be his mother. You loved Minna. Your real wife. This woman is a replacement. Minna is dead. Jae-sung's voice cracked. She's been dead for 2 years, and I've been dying with her. Ji-hoon has been dying. And Adana brought us back to life. So yes, I married her. And I'd do it again. Adana pressed her hand to her mouth, tears streaming. You care for her. Madam Park's voice was quieter now. Truly. I don't know. But I know I want to find out. And I know she's the bravest person I've ever met. When Madam Park emerged, her expression was unreadable. She approached Adana, looking her up and down. You understand what you've become? The target you now carry? I'm learning. And you're not afraid? I'm terrified. But Ji-hoon needs me. So I'll learn to be braver than my fear. The old woman studied her for a long moment. Then, shockingly, she bowed. Small, but significant. My grandson is smiling again. For that, you have my provisional acceptance. But know this, the rest of the family will not be so kind. You must be strong. Unbreakable. I'm Nigerian, Adana said softly. We're born unbreakable. The smallest smile crossed Madam Park's face. Perhaps my son chose better than I thought. Adana's recovery took weeks, during which she got a crash course in being a mafia wife. Jae-sung hired tutors for Korean language and culture. Mrs. Kwon, surprisingly, became an ally, teaching her the subtle politics of the underworld. Never show weakness in public, the older woman instructed. You can cry in your room, but outside, you're stone. They'll use any crack to break you. Adana also learned about Jae-sung's empire. The legitimate businesses, hotels, restaurants, real estate. And the shadows, gambling, loans, protection. I launder money, he told her bluntly one night when she asked. I hurt people who cross me. I've killed. I'm not a good man. They were in his study, sharing late-night tea after Ji-hoon's bedtime. I know what you are, Adana said. I'm choosing to stay anyway. Why? She met his eyes. Because I see who you're trying to become. And because Ji-hoon deserves a father who's present, even if that father is complicated. And what about what you deserve? The question hung between them. I'm figuring that out, she admitted. The first public appearance was a nightmare. A charity gala where all the major families would be present. Adana wore a designer gown that cost more than her childhood home, her scars hidden beneath silk. Stay by my side, Jae-sung murmured as they entered. Don't engage if they bait you. Let me handle it. But he underestimated how vicious they'd be. I heard Park brought his charity case, one woman stage whispered. Apparently she was his maid. Can you imagine? I suppose when you need someone to clean up after you. Adana's face burned, but she kept it blank. Stone. Like Mrs. Kwon taught her. Jae-sung's hand tightened on her waist. Say the word, and we leave. No. I won't give them the satisfaction. His eyes flashed with something like pride. The confrontation came from his uncle, Park Dae-won, the man who'd ordered the hit. Nephew, he said, smile not reaching his eyes. Congratulations on your unexpected marriage. Uncle. Jae-sung's voice was ice. I don't believe I've met your bride. Dae-won turned to Adana, and she saw the monster beneath. This man had tried to kill Ji-hoon. You must be very special to have captured our Jae-sung's heart so quickly. I'm very lucky, Adana said carefully. Lucky indeed. From poverty to luxury in one convenient shooting. His smile sharpened. Tell me, did it hurt? Taking those bullets? Or was it worth it for the payout? The room went silent. Jae-sung moved, but Adana put a hand on his chest. Met Dae-won's eyes. It hurt worse than anything I've ever experienced. I still can't breathe deeply without pain. But I'd do it again in a heartbeat because that 7-year-old boy didn't deserve to die for your ambition. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Dae-won's face went dark. Careful, girl. No, you be careful, Adana said quietly. I have nothing to lose. I came from nothing. I'll go back to nothing if I must. But you? You have an empire you're desperate to steal. And I'm betting that desperation makes you sloppy. She turned to Jae-sung. I'd like to go home now. As they walked out, the room erupted in whispers. In the car, Jae-sung stared at her. You just declared war on my uncle. He already declared war. I just returned fire. Then he did something that shocked her. He laughed. Actually laughed. My God. You're magnificent. And Adana felt something shift between them. Something dangerous and inevitable. The nightmares started a month after the shooting. Adana would wake up gasping, feeling the bullets tear through her flesh again, hearing Ji-hoon's screams. The third time it happened, she found Jae-sung in her doorway. I heard you scream, he said quietly. She was shaking, covered in sweat. I'm fine. You're not. He hesitated, then sat on the edge of her bed. I get them too. The nightmares. After Minna died, I didn't sleep for months. How did you stop them? I didn't. I just learned to function through them. He looked at her in the darkness. But you don't have to be alone in it. If you want. I can stay. Just to sit. Until you fall back asleep. It was the kindest offer anyone had ever made her. Okay. He stayed in the chair by her bed, working on his laptop while she drifted off. When she woke in the morning, he was still there, asleep in the chair, neck bent at an uncomfortable angle. Something in her chest cracked open. They started spending more time together. Family dinners with Ji-hoon turned into late-night conversations after the boy went to bed. Jae-sung taught her about the business, asked her opinions. Adana challenged him, pushed him to find legal paths, to build something Ji-hoon could inherit without shame. "You're trying to reform me," he said one night, amused. "I'm trying to save you," she corrected. "All of you. This life, it'll destroy Ji-hoon eventually." His smile faded. "I know. That's why I'm actually listening." The kiss happened 6 weeks after the wedding. They'd put Ji-hoon to bed together, reading his favorite story. As they walked out, Jae-sung's hand found hers naturally. Neither pulled away. At her door, he stopped. "Adana." "Yes. This marriage, it's not what I expected." Her heart raced. "What did you expect?" "A transaction. Protection for loyalty." "But you're..." He struggled for words. "You're changing everything. The way I see the world. Myself. What's possible? Is that a bad thing?" "It's terrifying." His hand came up to cup her face. "Because I'm starting to feel things I swore I'd never feel again. And if I lose you..." "You won't. You can't promise that." "No. But I can promise I'm not going anywhere by choice." He leaned in slowly, giving her every chance to pull away. When she didn't, his lips met hers. It was gentle. Searching. A question and answer all at once. When they parted, he pressed his forehead to hers. "I want this to be real. This marriage. Us. But only if you do." "I do," she whispered. "God help me, I do." Happiness, Adana learned, made you a target. Daewon's next move was calculated. He leaked to the press that Jae-sung had married a maid, spun it as a sign of instability. Then he called a family council to challenge Jae-sung's leadership. "This is it," Jae-sung told her the night before. "If I lose tomorrow, we lose everything. The protection, the resources. We'd have to run." "Then we run," Adana said simply. "You'd give up everything." "I'd give up anything for you and Ji-hoon. Don't you know that by now?" He pulled her close, and she felt him trembling. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway." The family council was held in a traditional hanok, all the major families present. Adana wasn't allowed in the main room, but Mrs. Kwan snuck her into a side room where she could listen. Daewon's accusations were brutal. That Jae-sung was weak,